So, over my high school career, I've been building up experience after experience in my academics, my social life, and even work. As I look back on it, I realize just how much every experience really impacted me and how it shaped me to be the person I am today.
You're legit no different than you were going to high school.
I don't know what you mean, I have changed.
You scream and laugh and cry just the same as you did before.
Okay, yeah, sure, but other parts of me have changed.
Like,
Well, that's what I'm getting into. So, this is my life at Cristo Rey Jesuit and its impact on me. So, starting out freshman year, I had gone to a completely different high school than the rest of my friends. I was basically starting in this place I only recently heard of. I had made a few friends during building the Pride, but aside from them, I really had no one to talk to. For the corporate work study program, I was placed at Baker Botts LLP, a law firm in downtown, where I worked in the library department, taking photos of their newly installed history hallway and storing those photos in a Word document. I did that for an entire year. It was not fun. So, with a boring job and very little people to talk to, I felt like high school was just gonna be me sitting alone at a piano. However, my life of loneliness changed after I was approached by a certain girl who had a knack for making friends. Little did I know that this very girl would be what got me to start looking at myself and my life a lot differently.
so you ended up changing in your entire life. Not because you realized you'd fought socially, but because of a girl.
Well, yeah, a girl helped me to realize what in me needed to change. Why do you ask?
You do realize what that makes you, right?
Oh, don't say it.
You're a sin.
Nope, shut up, I'm taking over. For those who watch any romance or slice of life anime, you'll know that this is typically where the protagonist ends up falling in love with the one that made them not feel alone, ends up dating them after they confess their feelings, and they live happily ever after. Which, in my case, did happen, but I kinda only had that for like a month and a week. After that, I went into a state of depression that kept me from focusing on my work and academics. That was probably the worst moment I've had in my life because I was in this constant state of feeling upset, sorrowful, and occasionally happy at the same time. It wasn't until 6 months later that I would escape that emotional mess and start going back to being somewhat normal. Yeah. However, while she was the person that got me, depressed, she was also the one who introduced me to the club that would bring out my true self. Theater Without a Stage, or TWAS. I had joined TWAS late freshman year, still in my depressed phase, but not as depressed. And being in a play and acting out my 6 different roles was a blast. This club would end up being one of the defining factors in my change of life, and one of the things that would end up supporting me on most in my time of need. After being introduced to theater, I started becoming friends with both lower and upper classmen. This would end up becoming true my sophomore year of high school, which is arguably my best year.
Oh, really? What made this your best year?
Well, during that year, I would perform in every play for TWAS, 3 of which were major roles, and be placed in the best job I had in the corporate work study program, the School of Fine Arts at the Houston Baptist University. I was there organizing files, restocking printers, and sorting out mail for the staff and professors.
That sounds kinda boring.
Well, yeah, on paper it does. But when you get to explore the campus and get to understand how colleges work by, working in that environment, it doesn't really seem all that boring. Also, it was the first time that I didn't feel awkward talking to my supervisor or even the professors and coworkers. This would be further fueled by my love for theater because at that point I was really lively.
I don't know if lively's the right word, but loud and annoying is probably better.
Oh, well, thanks, sis. Anyways, sophomore year was just the best year for me to be a high school student, and what it should have been like from the start. And then junior year hit. Now, this is a very complicated year. For one, I was moved from my job at HBU to work at EDF Trading North America, which is an energy trading company in downtown. And I was working in the IT department. They placed me in the IT help desk, so I mainly worked on imaging computers and managing tickets.
So you imaged computers? Did you like put a photo on the computer or something?
Oh, dear little sister of mine, if only it was that easy. Imaging computers is like mom or dad putting parental controls on your phone. It allows them to see what you're doing to make sure no viruses get in the system, and also restrict users from downloading certain programs that could harm the company.
So you're babying adults?
I really wouldn't put it that way, but sure. It wasn't the best job in the world, being that I knew nothing about IT and how to manage computers and programs they were familiar with. But it was one of the few jobs where I learned a lot about the department. For the most part, junior year was going alright. Until the world ended up being turned upside down when a certain virus decided to make its way into our lives. This would ultimately end all in person classes for that year, and everything was virtual. This also meant I wouldn't be going to work, which really sucked. Being quarantined for 6 months was not fun. Like, at all.
You seem to be having a blast playing video games all day with your friends.
Yeah, well, I wanted to go see my friends in person, not behind a screen. You know me, school is everything, and not being there in person was not fun. But we're still here. And it's my senior year, which is basically snatched away because of this virus. And not just half the year, we're talking the entire year. Right now, being a senior is not fun. All activities you would have as a senior, gone. Wanted to ask that one girl out in class before the end of high school, gone. Main events with large gatherings to have some fun, gone. We just pray and hope our graduation is at least somewhat normal. However, while this year has been nothing but a pile of garbage, it has also taught us some things. For one, the value of education. You need to know how to balance your life with your academics, and nothing helped us more with that than this year. The second is the value of the corporate work study program. This year, I have been meeting with my supervisor through Zoom, and I got to learn a lot about him and his story. It was very similar to mine, and it taught me to really think about opportunities I never thought I was getting and how they'll help me in college. Not only this, but I learned how to be social through my corporate experience. As you can probably tell, I am not that very good at being social.
Wow, wonder what gave that away.
Oh, yeah, I wonder. Anyways, me not being social has been a hassle, especially since I'm forced to work once a week in an environment where communication is really key in order to get through the day. It is honestly the best challenge for someone like me. It got me to understand how to talk to adults in a corporate environment and get me ready to be an intern or work in an actual job during and after college. This program got me to change my path of career choice from an astronomer working at NASA to an animator slash game designer working on creating their own characters and story to bring to life.
Was it really the program or was it the girl?
It was the program, not her. Not everything revolved around her, okay?
Just making sure.
Right. Anyways, having all this experience in art and computers is really going to help me when I take my college classes and go to intern or work for an animation studio. I plan to go to DePaul University to study animation slash character design. It's all the way up in Chicago, and no one's coming with me, and so the saga of me moving away from my friends continues. I know it's going to be a lot like freshman year, but it's going to be different because I'll have experience. I've already experienced this before, so this isn't going to be anything new. If anything, I hope I can push through it a lot better than I did freshman year. Besides, I'll be going to a university that I was determined to go to and study there. I have a plan, I just need to execute it properly. If anything, I'm just hoping that I actually have the guts to make new friends instead of cower away from people.
You went through all this depression and stress and anxiety just to be like, I'm going to experience this again. What was the point?
Well, I'll tell you what the point is. Middle school was probably the best 4 years of my life. Moving away from that did a toll on my mental health. If I had stayed at KIPP and went to Sunnyside, I probably wouldn't be as bad as I was freshman year, and I would be highly advanced in terms of STEM courses and go into astronomy as my preferred major. To many, this seems like the way to go for someone like me. However, if I made that decision, I would probably ruin my life. Sure, I'd still be with all my friends, but I would have gotten into drama, fought people, experimented with some sort of drug, or been in a lot of trouble for other reasons. This isn't to badmouth KIPP. It is a really good school, and I loved middle school there. However, they focus on advanced education, and it doesn't do much for its clubs or after school activities. I felt like if I stayed there, I would have been a lot worse than I am now. Going to CRJ taught me just how much experience matters. Sure, I'm not getting the advanced level classes I would be getting at Sunnyside, and I had to make new friends, but I have chances here to learn and make a difference. Education is important, but at what cost if the student is just going to feel stressed out or alone? At the start, it was rough, but as time went on, I was doing loads of stuff I would have never been able to see or do had I stayed at KIPP. I worked as part of my tuition to pay off my tuition for school. That alone is more than what typical high school students have, and the experience looks really good for colleges and potential jobs. It's phenomenal what CRJ has offered, both academically and socially for me. It helps me a lot. And I can go to college with the mindset that I can do this. That living out a pipe dream isn't so unrealistic. That's how I feel anyway.